Good afternoon. I'm Anthropology with Nick, and today we're discussing the Palatine units of the Herculani and Giovannis. I'm taking a more academic approach to my videos now. I'm going to be including sources below, and also I'll include sources in this video where more specifically books I've read that pertain to this issue. But the Herculani and Giovanni Palatine units were established by Emperor Diocletian. The Herculani, named after Hercules, who was adopted into the Roman pantheon at that point, and the Giovannis, named after Jove, which is the Latin name for Jupiter. My source for the military command and also the coat of arms for these units comes from the Noti Dignum, specifically this website, which I'll link below, which is an excellent resource. But the Noti Dignum was a record of imperial offices, military and civilian alike, from the late 300s to the early 400s. And it's accurate up to 420 because after 420, we really don't know what goes on, and it's sort of like applying a retroactive thing to a new military category. At least in the East, they had to reorganize a bunch, specifically after the Battle of Adrianople, because that basically wiped out the Eastern military. And in the West, after 406, the units just get shredded over and over and over, because in 406 was a major crossing of the Rhine by Vandal, Swabian, and Atlantic tribes. Well, you can see in purple, I have highlighted the Giovanni Honores and the Herculani Honores, and in red, Giovanni Seniores and the Herculani Seniores. You might be asking, what is the difference between Seniores and Honores? From page 264, Seniores from late Roman Field Army by Roger Tomlin for the American Journal of Philology. Honores could be used to describe a regiment drawn from another, then we might expect the parent regiment to be called seniores. I suggest that Valentinian divided regiments into two cadres, not necessarily equal in numbers, ages, or experience, which were then filled out with recruits who would mature more quickly side by side with old soldiers than if drafted into new regiments. This makes far better military sense than the supposed Valentinian cut vital regiments like the Giovanni into half simply to share them with his brother. By building them from cadres, he could expand the field army rapidly to compensate for Julian's disaster in Mesopotamia. But Tomlin is suggesting here that instead of it being Honorius assigned to the east and Seniores assigned to the west, just willy nilly, Honores were assigned to the east because they were taken from them. They took more experienced soldiers from the Seniores division, but not totally splitting up, just to compensate for the disaster, as I said, in Mesopotamia under Emperor Julian. And so to compensate for a shortage of manpower, the Giovanni and Herculani, and alongside other Palatine and Comitatenses units, were split up, allowing for the East to rebuild its military force. And this could be seen as it is broken up into Sonores and Unores for these specific units. But I'm not talking about these units on the screen now. These are all the units under the command of the Magister Militum Peditum in Italy, and this is for the West Roman Empire. Two different administrations, the West Roman Empire and the East Roman Empire. However, it's one empire. That is a thing I would like to stress. It is not two separate empires that were not like one state. It was one state, two emperors. But you could see over here, the Giovanni and Herculani Seniores are under the command of the Magister Militum for Peditum is Latin for foot soldiers. Some other units I would like to point out are Marcomanni Seniores and Marcomanni Juniores. These are the Marcomanni were Germanic tribes, so these are Foldarati Comitatenses units. And up here, you can see some cavalry units like the Equites Pronoti Seniores, Equites Bracciati Seniores, and the Equites Corniti Seniores. These are, oh, and also the Equites Mari Feroces. There's probably a couple others scattered around, but these are cavalry units, as you can tell by Equites. And Mari is interesting because Mari were a North African Berber tribe, so these are a cavalry unit taken from that tribe and based under a military commander in Italy. And for the East, I actually can speak a little more about this topic because I read this book on screen, The Field Armies of the Eastern Roman Empire. It was a very academic book, and it sort of sparked my interest in the military commands and the general time period of the late Roman Empire. I also was interested in this topic from playing a lot of Total War Attila. As you can see, this map and the previous part of the map come from the faction map for the game. But the Eastern Roman Empire had multiple Magister Militums. The Giovanni Honores and the Herculani Honores were under the Magister Militum Presentalis. One, there are two Presentalis units. Military commands. Presentalis means in the company of the emperor or in the presence of the emperor. You can see the first one, which the Giovanni and Herculani Honores were stationed under, is based in Constantinople. The second one, I sort of guessed on this one. I sort of couldn't find in the book, but I think it was based in Anatolia. And then Magister Militum Oriens was based in Upper Mesopotamia to fight the Sassanids. Then we have Magister Militum Thracium and Magister Militum Illyricum. Those Magister Militums are probably going to get their own presentation soon. I will make probably a video on the command of the Eastern Roman Empire based off this book. But now, this is probably the part you guys have been all waiting for. Let's see them in game. And I'm going to be using the Fall of Eagles mod for Total War Attila. Okay, here we are, Total War Attila with the Fall of the Eagles mod, such a great mod. But we have the Eastern Roman Empire, Herculani Honores, and Giovanni Honores. And then we have our Western Roman Empire, Herculean or Herculini Senores, and then the Giovanni Senores. I want you guys to pay close attention. Thank you, random soldier. I want you guys to pay attention to the coat of arms. We could see for the Giovanni Signores, we have the blue and red, and for the Herculean Signores, black and red. But for the Herculani Honores, gold on blue. And then for the Giovanni Honores, black on yellow. Basically taken right from the Notitia Dignitum. And I want to also point out their armor. They are wielding spathas, which are the later Roman sword instead of the gladius. They're wearing I think that's it's not a Lorica Sigmata, but it's more like a mail based armor than like the plate armor of earlier legionaries. So these are late Roman legionaries. I won't simulate a battle just because I know transferring the files would take a while, but I just wanted to show you guys just what these units would have looked like. You could also even see, sorry to interrupt myself, but they're wielding a Draco standard, which came from the Sarmatians. We also have we have some Equites right here. Basically, play Total War Attila. It's such a good game.